The history of SQL Server 2005. Microsoft SQL Server 2005 is a successor to its old version SQL Server 2000. This version was released on November 2005. This release was significant because this database became a choice for e-business and data warehousing initiatives, and it continues to set the standard for performance, ease of use, and out-of-the-box functionality. Let's spend some time to understand its history. In 1988, Microsoft released its first version of SQL Server. It was conceived for the OS/2 platform, and it was developed jointly by Microsoft and Sybase. Several other versions were introduced in the successive years by Microsoft Corporation. Microsoft's philosophy of combining a high-performance database with an easy-to-use interface proved to be very successful. Microsoft quickly became the second most popular vendor of high-end relational database software. In 2000, Microsoft released SQL Server 2000. SQL Server 2000 is Microsoft's most significant release of SQL Server up to date. This version further builds upon the SQL Server 7.0 framework. According to the SQL Server development team, the changes to the database engine are designed to provide an architecture that will last for the next 10 years. SQL Server 2005 offers many new features to save energy, time, and money. From programming to administrative capabilities, this version of SQL Server tops all others, and it enhances many existing SQL Server 2000 features. Here we will see some significant new features of SQL Server 2005. The first one is T-SQL Transaction SQL Enhancements. You all know T-SQL is the programming used for high-performance data access. It now incorporates many new features, including error handling via the try-and-catch paradigm and other new features, like the ability to shift columns to rows and vice versa with the pivot and unpivot commands. Next feature is CLR, Common Language Runtime. This feature is the next major enhancement in SQL Server 2005. This feature is used to integrate a .NET-compliant language such as C#, ASP.NET, or VB.NET to build objects, stored procedures, triggers, functions, etc. Data encryption. In SQL Server 2000, there is no function to encrypt data in a table natively. Organizations had to rely on third-party products to address this need. SQL Server 2005 has native capabilities to support encryption of data stored in user-defined databases. SMTP mail. Sending mail directly from SQL Server 2000 is possible, but it is challenging. With SQL Server 2005, Microsoft incorporates SMTP mail to improve native mail capabilities. Here are some of the significant features of SQL Server 2005. You can find other features of SQL Server 2005 from this web reference. What is SQL Server 2005? Before getting into SQL Server, I want my users to know some of the basics of SQL Server. When we discussed the SQL Server earlier, I told you the SQL Server is an RDBMS. Here we will see what an RDBMS is. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. In an RDBMS, data is structured in database tables, fields, and records. RDBMS provides relational operators to manipulate the data stored in the database tables. What is meant by SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is an ANSI, American National Standard Institute, standard computer language for accessing and manipulating the databases. SQL statements are used for updating, deleting, and requesting information from databases. SQL supports database programs like SQL Server, MS Access, DB2, Informix, Oracle, Sybase, etc. Let's see what is meant by SQL Server 2005. Microsoft SQL Server 2005 is a full-featured relational database management system, an RDBMS. It offers a variety of administrative tools to ease the burdens of database development, maintenance, and administration. In our upcoming discussion, we will see each one of these briefly. Why we learn SQL Server 2005. As I said before, after the release of SQL Server 2005, Microsoft had become the second most popular vendor of high-end relational database software. In this lesson, we will discuss the special features and benefits of using SQL Server. Let's see the advantages of SQL Server 2005. SQL Server 2005 is easy to install, deploy, and use. A SQL statement looks like a simple English sentence, making SQL easy to learn and understand. SQL is an interactive query language that gives users spontaneous access to store data. SQL Server provides lowest maintenance and implementation cost. And with the assistance of stored procedure, SQL Server reduces the network traffic and improves the database performance. Now we will see some of its uses. SQL Server 2005 is used in sectors like data warehousing applications, global-scale web services, e-commerce applications, statistical modeling and analysis, geospatial and scientific applications. In these sectors, SQL Server is used for database management. You'll see all these features and benefits of the SQL Server one by one in the upcoming lesson. Opening the application for the first time. This introduces SQL Server 2005 and SQL Server 2005's Management Studio and its basic workings. SQL Server Management Studio is a powerful tool to access the database. Let's open Microsoft SQL Server 2005 Management Studio. From the Start menu, go to All Programs. Select Microsoft SQL Server 2005 and then SQL Server Management Studio. You will get the Connect to Server screen. This screen allows you to connect to the Microsoft SQL Server 2005. In that screen, select the SQL Server name by clicking the drop-down list. Here we are going to connect with Windows Authentication, so click Windows Authentication. If we want to connect with SQL Server Authentication, we must create a login name and password. So click OK to connect to the server. Once connected to the server, you will get the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio screen that we will be using through the rest of our course. The Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio screen contains the Object Explorer on the left portion of the screen and a Summary tab on the right portion of the screen. The Object Explorer provides a hierarchical view of objects. We can navigate through a database, a table, a column, or other types of objects, as you can see. In the upcoming lesson, we will explore the IDE of SQL Server Management Studio.